So we'll be starting in like few minutes. However, since a couple of people have joined in, it's great to just ground ourselves from whatever we were doing, wherever we were, because all of that is memory, it's past. So just grounding ourselves, and even the word grounding is a concession to the language. Just staying as we are and settling into the isness. As we settle into this isness, there might be a tendency of the automatic patterns, processes of our mind to take us somewhere else. Can we just acknowledge and witness this very moment? Not even a nanosecond before, because that is just a mental process, a memory, and not even a nanosecond after, because that is an imagined future. Just this moment. Now, as we are witnessing this moment right here, right now, let's also witness our breath without any effort. And stay with it for a minute. And as we stay as we are, who we are, without any labels, just witnessing the breath, see if there is any tendency to construct a story, a pull which just takes away for a small little excursion. Great. So, welcome all of you once again. That was just a little grounding thing which we did. But the real session, or even to call it a session, is like just lack of better words. So, no self, that's the topic for today's inquiry. Even before we start, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. The first thing is that the core of this realization, which is already present, which is already there every moment, we cannot get it through anything outside of us. In fact, there's nothing outside of us. So it's not a method through which only we can see ourselves. There are multiple ways to see ourselves, and the only thing which obstructs from seeing who we are or naturally see the ordinariness is the construction of the mind, construction of the patterns, and the belief that there is a separate self disconnected from this beautiful, vast reality. And as this belief becomes stronger with contractions of the body, nervous system, a lot of labels, identities, patterns, this belief becomes stronger. And even as we go onto the path and we realize and we know it very well that there's nothing of that sort in intense situations or certain kind of unique events, we still might find this illusory story becoming stronger, and we getting lost into this or getting hypnotized to this belief of separation. So today's inquiry is all about looking into our direct experience. It is not about taking a belief and superimposing it on top of whatever we believe. It is not about that we are trying to practice and this practice will take us somewhere. It is just about clear seeing. So, couple of things which I want to talk about before we get into self inquiry. There will be a lot of mental images as I say something and you try and see. There will be thoughts, feelings, emotions. For example, if I say watch your breath, even before we start seeing, there's a tendency of mind to actually picture very subtly how the breath is. Start of the inhalation, exhalation. All of that is a mental picture. Can we let go of that and directly see how this breath is originating out of nothing? Right. So that's one. Without referring to thought, memory, or any information, can we see things as it is? That's the first sort of requirement for self inquiry. And second is that we're not trying to chase any experience. We are not trying to make anything extraordinary. It's the most ordinary act to just sit and see. And we don't believe anything, we don't superimpose anything. In fact, even this word or phrase no self, let's let go of it. All we got to do is sit in this shared being and look at whatever it is. So let me just check the Zoom once and then come here. Great. Let's begin the inquiry, but at the same time, we let go the word inquiry. Let there be just this pure seeing. And within this isness, we can close our eyes and just sit relaxed. There's nowhere to go, there's nothing to be done. And yet, we may find that there are several things happening even when we have closed our eyes. There are sensations in the body, there's breath, there's pulsation, there are even the thoughts, sounds. Just sit back and see all of this appearing and disappearing. Now, as we watch this appearance and disappearance of several things happening, let's genuinely look into our direct experience and see the spaciousness in which the sensations, thoughts, sounds are appearing. The spaciousness is like a screen, and what's appearing and disappearing is like the pictures on the TV screen. Stay here and let the pictures be as it is. No resistance, no entanglement. Now, as you explore the spaciousness while there are several sensations, thoughts, sounds appearing to you, look if you can find a person or see yourselves in your direct experience without reference to the thought, memory, or any label of yourselves. Right in this moment, where are you? And as I say this, there might be a story which might come up. Let go of that story or let it be, but go to your direct experience in this moment as I witness in this spaciousness. Where am I located? Is it head, chest, your gut? Do not take any story as real. Go to the space where you feel you might find yourselves and investigate. See thyself. If you experience nothing, then just be that nothing. But if you experience yourselves somewhere in the body, go closer as if the light of knowing goes on to this felt experience of self and investigate. How does this feeling of located in the body appears in this moment? Is it a thought, a contraction in the body, some kind of pulsation? If it's appearing like any of these, can we rest as the space in which they are appearing, the knowing, the screen? Because all of this will change, and we are the one which is witnessing the change. So let's rest as the knowing and yet try and locate ourselves. And if you find yourselves not being there, no surprise, explore that. Is this a mental picture or superimposition of any spiritual belief, or genuinely in this moment, right here, right now? Is there just this wide openness? No belief, even the spiritual knowledge, can help us see. In fact, it can become an obstruction, a mental construction. So we let go of all of it and again ask, or see rather, where am I located? Without referring to any thought or memory or any story. In this moment, in our direct experience, without referring to the mind, can we see how do we appear? The moment this word appear comes, the appearance of a picture might show up in the mind. We're not talking about that. In this very moment, what is our appearance? As we become aware and we are witnessing this body and the thing we call self, in Sanskrit, there is a word called nama rupa, which means a name and a form. Is the reality defined by the appearance and the name? Go directly look into the experience. If there's anything which looks to you as solid, as a translucent and opaque form within your spaciousness, go and explore that space. And if you feel there's more and more expansion as you explore yourselves, rest as the knowing. As we rest, in fact, even saying resting is something like doing something. We're not really referring to it. Can we let go of all the knowledge and just be and see this apparent symbol of the aliveness of our body called breath? Without any effort, without referring to the mental image of our breath, we go to the direct experience of our breath. As we watch the tip of the nostril, we see out of thin air, there's this origination of an energy called breath, which gently expands, which we call inhalation, creates sensations. Go to the direct experience of your breath. There is a pause, then there is exhalation, and there is a pause. No effort, no memory, no thought, just purely witnessing the breath. Now, in your direct experience as you witness the breath, is there any controller of this breath? Somebody who's putting effort. Breath appears like action, inhalation, or movement rather. And then there's a pause, the stillness. Then there's this exhalation, movement again. And then there is pause. There's sensations, but is there a controller? We don't believe it, we see it for ourselves. We investigate and meet the controller if there's one, the owner of this breath. Can we find him or her? There's just this breath happening, totally in one with this witnessing. But do not believe this. Go and see for yourselves. when even this breath, the apparent symbol of aliveness of our body, doesn't have a controller, an owner, where is this small separate self? Where does it come from? Just be and see if there's any construction, any information which assembles any belief within your nervous system, contraction, which kind of self constructs itself and says, here am I, separate from this beautiful, expansive reality. Right now, as we sit, our pulse is pulsating on its own, just like our breath. If you want to feel it, take your two fingers, keep your eyes closed, two fingers of your right hand, the index and the middle one, and gently place it on your left wrist. Give yourself some time and experience this beautiful moment called pulse. There's a beat and there's silence. There's again a beat, which is movement, and then there's silence. Go to the direct experience in this moment of this pulse. Is there any pulsator? Anyone who is pulsating in this moment? And now we go and explore in our direct experience this spaciousness itself. Is it any different than who we are? Just stay as you are. Let thoughts, feelings, sensations, sounds, beliefs, all of them appear, disappear. Your body slightly appearing as a transparent vessel. And even if you feel the solidity, check. But primarily be interested in the knowing. See if this knowing is a contracted self which we couldn't find through our inquiry, or even if your experience was that you could find, is this moment right now, as we see, we know, is it contracted or is it expansive? Include all the sounds which you can hear, including my voice, to the tiniest thing which you can hear: insects squeaking, birds chirping, sound of some car. In this moment, without any reference to your thought memory, see the ordinariness, no story, no spiritual knowledge, just as it is. Is there any separation between you and the sounds and something called outside? Keep listening to anything which you feel is outside, including the sound of my voice. And see if you find even a border within yourselves or outside. Go travel. And as you travel, see if there is an entity which can travel. This expansive, ordinary isness in which things appear, disappear, is without an entity. This entity is the illusion, and appears not just with a thought but a felt belief, contractions in our nervous systems, body, and the culmination of it put together is labeled, and not just labeled but lived momentarily as a separate self. But as we explored, when there's no controller, no orchestrator, no doer, resting as this being, this expansive one reality. This is the place, or rather, the only place where we already are, the placeless place. In Sanskrit, there is a term called Sudarshan. Su means self, and darshan means seeing, meeting thyself, seeing thyself. As we rest in this expansiveness, let's gently open our eyes. The silence, the stillness, whichever way, whichever word we use, can never define the reality. But for the lack of better words, silence and noise are not two different things. Even the self, which appears momentarily as something separate, is not separate. It's a story coming out of this absolute still nature. And this is termed as Maya. Great. Thank you for this beautiful shared space, the silence. We can have some conversation, or if there's any question, feel free to type in the chat box. There are participants on Zoom as well as Substack. So I would just say you can just type in the chat if it's possible, especially for the Zoom users. And if there's nothing, then we can stay as we are. For most of our lives, this story of a separate self kind of continues, because that's how the game function, the game of life, this whatever we want to call. If we want a driving license, we need a name. If you want a birth certificate, we need a name. And as I was telling in the inquiry, nama, which is the Sanskrit term for name, and rupa means the form, the appearance. So the picture is taken and it's put in our passport, and then we are termed as a citizen of India, America, Germany, Sri Lanka, wherever, America, America. And this story kind of so much gets reinforced on us that even in the so-called spiritual path, or the so-called knowing ourselves, this is ingrained within us in so minute level that it becomes a felt belief, the contraction in our nervous system, and in a particular situation, which is very unique to different people, and our past traumas, our emotions, feelings, we get hypnotized, you know and there's nothing to be done, because this is whole part of the process. The clear seeing is in every moment, and just resting there. The self remembrance and self abidance, it keeps happening. Great. So let me just check Zoom if there's any question, any reflection. Okay, no. Cool. So I'm assuming that you were all able to follow the inquiry, because this is not a practice. This is about just seeing and knowing. Thank you for your time. But if there's anything, feel free. I'm here. Feel free if you want to share something.
Yeah, Ashwani,
Yeah,
you know, today's lesson to me, a little bit, not little bit, it's just like कि उसमें से 50% has मेरे ऊपर से गुजर गया.
right.
I think it is better to explain you in Hindi. Okay, English is, I went to, I tried my level best,
Sure.
to, yeah, but really, this, the whole, only 50% I can connect to that. And the
Sure.
50% I couldn't.
Okay. So we'll keep it short here because there are other users who cannot hear you. So I'll take it right away. I'll explain so that they can also, hear. They're on Substack, another platform. So, yeah. So let me just answer this question. First, repeat the question and then answer the question. Yeah. Give me a moment. Yeah. So a participant on Zoom, Omaji, she says that whatever you just took me through the self inquiry, 50% of it was very clear, but the other 50 was like literally a bouncer. It just went over the head, right? In fact, my point is that head has no use here. The more we try to analyze, understand, or even catch, it becomes a hindrance. The fact is that the same inquiry might do something to one apparent individual, and it might do something very different to another, because in the manifested reality all of us are very unique, and it's beautiful. Whether you understand it, whether you don't understand it, it's all absolutely beautiful. We're not trying to reach somewhere. We're not trying to see that whether we understand, not understand. What's very important is, are you able to see this spaciousness, this expansiveness? Right? Yeah.
Yes, that I do.
Yeah. So all the questions, all the answers actually dissolve in that spaciousness. Just stay, there. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, stay there. If the question emerges, great. You can watch the question, stay as you are, and just ask yourselves that this question, is it gonna give me any information which can actually make me see this witnessing which I'm already there, right? So so that's something which you can do. However, you will see that a lot of non-dual settings, and people like to ask a lot of questions. Answer should take that person to silence, or to her or him, his own self. The answer should never be within the mind, and a lot of people are doing this beautifully well. So I would also say the same thing, that be that witness, watch.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Cool. That's pretty cool. Is there someone who wants to come on stream with me from Substack? I can invite you. You can be next to me if you want to talk or something, or we can call it a day. You can just type in the chat and I can invite you. Because Zoom, it's easy. People can unmute. Here, I think that's the only way. All right. Cool. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to be with all of you on Substack and Zoom. We'll try and do this every Sunday if this is supposed to be done, because we know very well that all of this is just unfolding. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Sunday ahead, and we'll see again whenever this happens. Thank you.